Welcome to Alcohology.
I wonder why they call it a cocktail.
Yes, I'd like to know more about the Venus vinifera. I'm very interested in the terroir.
We talking about 2 carbon, 6 hydrogen, and 1 oxygen atom. We talking about ethyl alcohol.
This episode, Absinthe. Today, we're going to talk about a drink that inspired artists, scared governments, and picked up the nickname the Green Fairy. This is the drink that Tinkerbell has when she breaks bad, absinthe. At its core, absinthe is a complex herbal spirit built on a few key botanicals. The big 3 are wormwood, Artemisia absinthium, where the drink gets its name. This is the famous green fairy ingredient, adding that slightly bitter and earthy backbone. Green anise, which is where that black licorice flavor comes from. It is dominant in almost every sip, to the point where if you're not a fan of black licorice, this might not be the drink for you. And fennel, which adds a sweeter, softer licorice tone that balances the sharper bite of the anise. Most traditional recipes also include other herbs and botanicals for complexity, things like hyssop, star anise, angelica, lemon balm, and even coriander. These mix of herbs creates that unmistakable herbal punch that absinthe is known for. When it comes to taste, absinthe is about as subtle as a rhinoceros in your herb garden. Straight, it hits you hard with the sharp anise and wormwood bitterness, although when you prepare it correctly, the profile transforms. It opens up into something sweeter and more floral with a cooling licorice taste, soft herbal notes, and a whisper of bitterness that lingers at the end. The result is layered and complex, bold, refreshing, and a little mysterious. The precise origin of absinthe is unclear. The medical use of wormwood dates back to ancient Egypt and is mentioned in the Ebers Papyrus from around 1550 BC. Wormwood extracts and wine-soaked wormwood leaves were used as remedies by the ancient Greeks. Moreover, some evidence exists of a wormwood-flavored wine in ancient Greece as well. Modern absinthe first appeared in Switzerland in the late 1700s, marketed as medicine. French soldiers were given absinthe to prevent malaria and ease stomach problems. When they came home, they brought the taste with them. By the mid-1800s, the French were obsessed. In fact, the 5 o'clock happy hour was nicknamed l'heure verte, meaning the green hour, as cafés were packed with people sipping absinthe. Absinthe quickly became the muse of an entire generation. You had famous artists and creatives like Van Gogh, Picasso, Degas, Oscar Wilde, Ernest Hemingway, and many more, all linked to absinthe. Oscar Wilde once said, "Drinking absinthe is like, quote, having your brain crushed by flowers." It even showed up in art. Degas painted l'absinthe with that haunted bohemian look that still defines the mystique of the drink. That was the vibe of the era. Romantic, rebellious, and a little reckless. But fame brought controversy. By the late 1800s, absinthe was blamed for everything from moral decay to outright madness. People fixated on the chemical in wormwood called the jaune, claiming it caused hallucinations and insanity. Then came the infamous case of Jean Lefray in 1905. He murdered his family after a day of heavy drinking. The press went wild, blaming the few glasses of absinthe he had while conveniently ignoring the wine, brandy, and schnapps also in his system. By 1915, France banned absinthe entirely. Soon the ban spread across Europe and eventually to the US. For almost a century, the Green Fairy was verboten. Science finally stepped in to clear things up in the 1990s. Studies showed that the jaune in absinthe isn't hallucinogenic. As a matter of fact, you'd pass out or expire from alcohol poisoning long before the jaune had any noticeable effect on you. Europe started lifting bans in the 1990s, and by 2007, absinthe was legal again in the US. In 2007, the French brand Lucid became the first genuine absinthe to receive a certificate of label approval for import to the United States since 1912. The French absinthe ban of 1915 was repealed in May 2011. Now you can find absinthe in specialty bars and stores worldwide. Let's talk about the right way to drink absinthe. The first thing you need to know is that absinthe is no lightweight. Most bottles clock in at between 110 and 145 proof, or about 55% to 72% alcohol by volume. That puts it on par with overproof rum or cask-strength whiskey, way stronger than your standard gin, vodka, whiskey, or other spirits, which come in at 40% ABV. And here's the thing, absinthe isn't meant to be taken as a shot. It's meant to be enjoyed slowly, with a ritual that dilutes the spirit and brings out its full complexity. The traditional serve is simple, but dramatic. First, pour a single measure of absinthe into the glass, usually about an ounce, and most absinthe serving glasses have a measuring line for you to follow. Rest a slotted spoon over the rim with a sugar cube on top. Then slowly drip water over the sugar. You're aiming for a ratio of 3 to 5 parts water to 1 part absinthe, depending on how strong you like it. As the water trickles down, the green spirit transforms, turning cloudy in what's called velouche. It's pure chemistry. The essential oils from the wormwood and anise separate from the alcohol and create that dreamy, milky swirl in your glass. If you want to modernize the experience, there are plenty of absinthe cocktails worth trying, like the Sazerac, where absinthe is used as a rinse to add a punch of herbal complexity, or perhaps you would like to try Death in the Afternoon, champagne poured over a shot of absinthe, a drink Hemingway himself recommended. But whether you're keeping it classical or experimenting, the golden rule is simple. Sip slowly. This isn't a race, it's a ritual. So that's absinthe, lineage tracing back to ancient Egypt and Greece, the modern version born in Switzerland, raised in Parisian cafés, demonized, banned, and finally redeemed. It may not make you hallucinate, but sip with care because the Green Fairy can pack quite a punch.
This podcast is a production of Unfiltered Studios. If you would like to know more about joining Unfiltered Studios, please visit our website at unfpod.com for more information.
If you're looking to travel for this holiday, or any holiday for that matter, contact our sponsor, the Poppins Travel Company. You can call them at 407-494-4070. It's 407-494-4070, or visit poppinstravelcompany.com. It's poppinstravelcompany.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and visit us on social media. It's Matt and Friends DTU on all your favorite social media platforms. As always, thank you for listening.